podcast. My name is DK Diamantes. His name is Bricky. You know why you're here. But before we get started, if you enjoy today's episode of the podcast and maybe you want to support us, head over to patreon.com/Adeptus Ridiculous, where you can get access to the Discord, bloopers if they happen. $15 tier gets you access to all of our posters in crispy digital HD format. It's great. You should check it out. Patreon.com/Adeptus Ridiculous. Bricky, how's the merch?
Hey, it's good. You can buy it. There's a lot of it, actually. There's awesome new posters and stuff. You may have seen the Krieg one. That one's been going like hotcakes as of lately. You also have awesome things like a ton of dice, all kinds of options there. If you want to get yourself a giant bucket of dice and start rolling it, all good stuff, shirts, hoodies, and so on. Check it out. Rep the merch. Enjoy your time. And yeah, it's good stuff. Yippee.
Hell yeah. Yeah, get yourself a bucket of dice. Who doesn't need a bucket of dice? Are you playing Nids? Are you playing Orcs? Bucket of dice.
Definitely Orcs. What might I even say guard? Here's my bucket of dice for the Rogel Dorne tank. Yay.
I just remember the first time I saw a Nids player on like a battle report from Dice Check forever ago, and it was just like, yes, here is my 18 buckets worth of dice for all my Nids, and I was like, damn, that's a lot of dice.
Yeah, I mean,
crazy.
You gotta get the Termagon shooting. You need to get them rolling.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, or like spamming guardsmen or something, or maybe even you're getting yourself some of those new Emperor's Children models that were just unveiled.
So topical.
I know. I streamed like general reactions to LVO like reveals, and overall I thought the overall show was a bit weak because there was no kill team, no whatever the Sigmar version of kill team is. I think it's called Warcry. There also there's a lot of like, oh, here's all these like new codex roadmaps, but like not really, but like here's a little hint, and also here's Space Marine 2's new Biovore enemy. We don't have gameplay, but like it's just an image, and I was kind of like, that's a bit weak. And then it's like a flat line, and then the flat line spikes to the goddamn heavens for Emperor's Children, and then kind of came back down for me, but. Yeah, the Emperor's Children models all got some fun little reveals, and you got a chance to see them, right?
I did. I saw good old Lucius giving a little licky taste to his own armor. This is pretty good.
I described it as a very, you won't get this because it's a SpongeBob reference, but this is for all of our viewers. All of his faces, or all the faces of the people trapped in his armor, you can see like coming out of the metal. It looks like this particular scene in SpongeBob when SpongeBob hears about Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, and he like very slowly creaks into the wall and blows through the other side of the wall because it's fine. Never mind. I'm gonna stop while I'm here.
I'm sure it's hilarious. You know, if you get the reference, I'm sure it is just balls to the wall hilarious. However,
let's not oversell it. All right.
Oh, okay. Well,
now we're going too far the other direction.
I was trying to give you the benefit of the doubt with the SpongeBob reference, but all right, fine. You're not funny at all. The reference is bad. Sheesh. Fine.
Perfect. But yes, all the hilarious glam rock Slaanesh Marines. New Lucius looks insane.
Mm-hmm.
I love the weirdo like pinball head dudes. I forget what they're called, the Flawless Blades, I think, or something like that.
Ooh, such a good name for like a Slaaneshi trope too.
They look so weird. It's like just strange enough. But anyway, completely unrelated to all of that. We gotta talk about it because it's so fun. A quote is needed. Yes.
Sure. I mean, given all of that, I kind of have an inkling of which way we're going today, but sure, hit me with a quote.
All right. Oh, Shy has something for me. Yes.
Oh, Bricky.
Are you shocked that they are pink and black? Is everyone supposed to pink and gold? I thought they were going to be like more full pink. The black armor definitely. I'm not sure if I love the black armor. It's not quite my vibe. I kind of expected full pink and gold, yeah. But I guess most 40k variants are different than the 30k variant, like World Eaters and Death Guard and stuff. So I don't know. I'm a little unsure.
That's kind of what I was expecting. I was like, oh yeah, that color fits. Yeah, I was like, yep, this is exactly what I expect from Emperor's Children, So I was cool with it.
I do like the jade capes. I think that's a good look. I don't know. I think the paint job, it wasn't my favorite personally, but I don't know. I like the models besides the main, the baseline dudes. They seem a little bit I don't know, a little uninspired. But they have beaky helmets, therefore everyone loves them to death. But
oh, hell yeah, brother.
I like the pinhead dudes. I think they're great. Anywho, quote, he knew his appearance well. He had often studied it narcissistically in one of his many mirrors. He had beheld it in the shimmering blood of his enemies, seen it reflected, in the eyes of those he was about to kill. It was murderous. It was beautiful. It was perfection.
All right. So my initial thought was, yeah, of course we're doing Fulgrim today because the Emperor's Children thing happened, and I am assuming, yeah, we're doing Fulgrim today.
Yeah, he gets it. It wasn't particularly difficult.
Yeah, the lead up was like, yeah, this feels like a good day to do Fulgrim. This feels like, the new models came out. Yep.
So, yes, so it is Fulgrim today. Obviously, for any of our newer listeners, we have done Fulgrim in the way past, as well as the Emperor's Children episodes. We've also done one on Fabius Bile. We haven't done one on Lucius yet, but he's also an important guy. But we've obviously discussed them here and there. But the bigger question is right now, it's timely. LVO just launched the Emperor's Children models. The Codex is coming out relatively soonish, couple of months, I'm sure. And with all of that stuff, Fulgrim is now on the tabletop. So the question really is, what's he been up to?
Yeah, what has he been up to? Because he disappeared after the Rylanor incident, right? Where he got turbo nuked by Rylanor's. I want to say Rylanor was petty because he wasn't. But that's the last we saw of him, right?
I love how we've just decided to incorporate turbo nuked into our lexicon, much like how we've incorporated boss baby as a colloquialism for having low points of reference.
Fair. I mean, there's no better way to describe what Rylanor did, though, other than, damn, he turbo nuked that fool.
He did.
Right?
He said, whoa, virus bomb upon ye.
Yeah. Whoa, virus bomb upon ye. Nice.
But Fulgrim, okay, so there's a bit of a caveat here. Fulgrim, right now, what he's been up to, there's very little on that. There's very little on what he's been up to right now, because they're launching a book very soon that they showed off during LVO about what he's been up to.
Okay, well,
so
all right, cool.
This is not an episode about what is Fulgrim doing right now. This is an episode leading up to what is Fulgrim doing right now. We've discussed here and there certain aspects of Fulgrim, his heresy, his the birth, his raising on Chemos, all that kind of stuff. But this is basically heresy era onwards to the rest.
Okay, I was gonna say with Emperor's Children, you got to be careful about saying, "Oh yeah, it's their birthing," because that could go down so many different routes.
Yeah, that's its own real problems. But we can roll past that. So, so Fulgrim, Fulgrim, what a guy.
Fulgrim, yeah.
Here's an interesting one. DK, what legion number is the Emperor's Children?
I want to say they are Legion. I want to say they're 3.
Nice job.
Let's go.
Good. Holy, very good.
He's starting to believe.
He is third Legion. Let's go. So let's roll it back a little bit. So Fulgrim, born on Chemos, lived his whole life, rolling up. A lot of the Emperor's Children, Marines were taken from some of the hoity-toity areas of Terra. Fulgrim, good-looking guy. All the usual stuff, hop back. I won't lie, actually, I'm a little rusty on my Emperor's Children Fulgrim raising. His raising on Chemos is a bit, let's just say it's not as rambunctious as like Angron's, for example, you know?
Yeah, I feel like, excuse me, voice, I would like to talk today. From what I remember of like Emperor's Children and Fulgrim, it wasn't like he didn't have like a super ultra traumatic, hair-raising, chaotic, chaos-pilled birth or anything, did he?
No, the hair raising came later.
Yeah, boy, did it.
And the head banging.
Yeah, and the head removing.
And the banging.
They had lots of banging.
But yes, it was generally just kind of a shithole planet that he made people, you know, help save them, restored it, and then they began to enjoy all the really good stuff like arts and food and delicious. So
very Slaaneshi.
Very Slaaneshi. So we pass all that stuff. We move up to the Siege of Terra. That's kind of where we're starting with all of our things. So Fulgrim at this point, man's lost, right? He's already cut off Ferrus Manus' head. Did you notice that Lucius is stepping on an Iron Hands Marine on his mini?
I didn't.
It's the newest Iron Hands mini in like 15 years.
Oh.
Well, I don't know what Iron Father Phyros came out, but besides that, yeah.
Oh no, the newest Iron Hands mini, and poor guys.
In like 40K.
Man, Lucius looks good though.
Okay, you know what? I have to now. I'm typing in SpongeBob going through wall, and you're gonna understand what I'm saying. You see the faces on his armor, on his chest and stuff.
Yep. The ones that he's given a little. Give it a lick. It tastes just like rainbows. Yep.
There you go.
Okay, yeah.
I
get the meme now.
Yes.
You're right. It is not like, oh my God, that's the funniest reference ever, but it is a reference. I get it, and it makes sense now.
It does make sense. So, Fulgrim here, Ferrus Manus, head gone, layer blade corrupting him. We got the weird, we got the Meraviglia, so the Emperor's Children are full-on noise marine shenanigans have begun. They're getting a little crazy, all the stuff. So, now, did you? It's a little bit quizzing for today. Do you remember what Fulgrim and the Emperor's Children were doing on Terra instead of fighting?
If I'm not, weren't they just going around killing just every citizen they could find, and they weren't really helping with the siege? They were just off being like, yeah, we're just gonna murder everything.
They were, sort of, but what did they do with the citizenry?
Oh no.
They turned them into drugs.
Oh, that's right. They turned people into drugs. And that's a very Emperor's Children thing to do, isn't it? Because you're like, what were they doing with the citizens? And I was like, Emperor's Children. Oh no. Were they doing? Oh no.
Yes. So they did not participate much in the actual Siege of Terra. They just want to do as much hedonism on the planet as they possibly could. They spent a majority of their time capturing civilians, taking them as slaves, or turning them into drugs so they could enjoy their Slaaneshi stuff. Naturally, other traders, particularly Perturabo, really did not like this. He was very annoyed constantly with how Fulgrim and the other brothers were just impossible to handle during the siege. You know, once again, typical Perturabo doing all the work in the group project type thing. Yeah. Going from there, as the war kind of moved on, the Siege of Terra, that is, Horus and Abaddon needed a lot of ground support. And so Abaddon was able to get the full title as Lord Commander Primus. But that's Eidolon. We talked a little bit about Eidolon.
Yeah, a little bit. He was in one of the books. He was shown to be very incompetent as a leader, right? In the, what was it? The first Horus Heresy book?
I believe it was Horus Rising, yeah. Or they certainly did not like Eidolon one bit.
No.
But so the main goal that Perturabo was generally doing was like, all right, Fulgrim, you're going to work on the siege during the Saturnine Gate. Meanwhile, Abaddon and boys are going to go underneath, dig under the wall, and as a fault in the design of the palace, to go in and cause lots of problems. Rogel Dorne, of course, being Rogel Dorne, realized of this fault and devised a plan to completely crush and bury everyone underneath there while he goes and beats the shit out of Fulgrim. It's a very enjoyable fight, Dorne versus Fulgrim. A genuine, that's fantastic, Shy.
That is pretty great.
That's not too far off. Excellent.
I like it.
Excellent meme.
I like it a lot.
The fight between Dorne and Fulgrim is particularly enjoyable to read because Fulgrim is just hurling insults the entire time at Dorne, and it's like, is this Dorne? You know? Yeah. So he's got this great thing where he's like, "You've let yourself be used as a distraction," said Dorne, keeping his gaze on his adversary, ignoring the blood pouring down his face. "You've let your host be decimated for nothing. The Saturnine ruse, I know about that too, has failed. You are just a pawn. Was it the Lord of Iron who fooled you into this? Lupercal? Abaddon? You must have been willing. Were you getting bored with it? The spear tip is broke. You're holding a gate for no one. You were just an idiot standing on a wall."
Oh, wow.
It's so funny. He's just like, "Fulgrim, you dummy. You idiot."
Fulgrim, you absolute dumbass. That is some crazy fire to spit.
From Dorne.
From Dorne, of all people. That's, like, how do you recover from that?
He's just so blunt with it. He's like, "I'm not trapped here," said Dorne. "I am not under siege today. You are. And that's why I'm going to kill you." And it's just so, like, direct. I love it.
Yeah. Hypothetically, would the siege of Terra had been different if the Emperor's children were not off making people drugs and were just going hard from the very get-go?
Oh my god, there's another quote in here that I absolutely adore. I need to find it. It's Perturabo, and he's really, really annoyed. Mm-hmm. I gotta find it real quick. There we go. Basically, you say like, "Oh, if they weren't out there doing all this stuff," it's like, well, that's kind of the point. Is like the traitors were never really cohesive to begin with. It says, quote, "Angron licked gore from a clawed hand, twitching with the taste of it. His bestial features broad and large in the column of light that projected from the ceiling. Fulgrim seemed to be lounging on a couch made of corpses, tail languidly flicking back and forth while attended by creatures with eyes and mouths stitched shut, offering flagons and platters of treats for the Primarch. Mortarion seemed the most attentive, though his features were obscured by billows of vapor erupting from his mask with each stentorian breath." So, and the editor's note after this, the idea of Perturabo staring at his brother covered in blood, the other like Frankfurter from Rocky Horror, and the third just quietly vaping, giving him a "what the fuck" is an objectively funny image.
All right, that's fair. That is, oh boy. All right, so I guess it is like wrangling cats. There's no way you are really going to get all of these people on the same page doing the same thing. They all are such weirdos that, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what Khan and Mortarion were chatting about. Like, Khan was like, "Mortarion, don't you come to me with your failed crap. Like, oh, you got Kurz as your ally? Congratulations, dude. I'm glad you're so lucky." Like, how the
you knew what you signed up for.
Yeah, how the hell are you like, okay, I need to put my trust on this heresy with Conrad Kurz, Fulgrim, Angron, Alfarius and Omegon, and like Lorgar. Magnus ain't too bad. That one's okay. But he's currently struggling real hard.
Oh yeah, when Peter Turbo is your most well-adjusted, sane leadership individual, you got problems.
Yeah, and I mean, like, he's certainly not well-adjusted, but yeah, it's just it makes sense. So anyway, the fight between Dorne and Fulgrim goes a bit awry when Fulgrim decides to be like, "You know what? I'm sick of this," and I don't mean that in a metaphorical sense. I mean that in like a literal sense. At this point, he's just like, "God damn it. all these things I know, says Fulgrim, but first thing, I can't die, Lamau, because he's currently souped up by Slaanesh energy. So as Dorne was beating his ass, his wounds just close up. Skin reknits without a scar. His dangling broken hand is refused. His armor fixes itself. His blood dries up and blows away. And then he's like, 2, I am sick of all of this. The others can find a way to grind you and your fortress down. I cannot die, but I feel the pain and I won't take any more of it. And from here, this is when he becomes Snake Fulgrim. His legs fuse together into a big old snake. He gets like the extra arms. His scales go around his eyes and cheeks. His tongue gets forked. He turns into Snake Fulgrim.
I didn't realize this was the exact moment he turned into Snake Fulgrim for some reason. Like, I'm not sure when I thought it happened or how it happened. I didn't realize it was because he was like, damn you, Dorne, you beating my ass sure does hurt, and I'm sick of it because I'm immortal. I didn't realize that's when he became Snake Boy.
Well, there's also the other important part, which is, hey, he realized that he was literally used by Perturabo as a distraction. And what is
so it's not like Dorne's message fell on deaf ears. He actually was like, oh shoot, you're right, Dorne.
Yeah, and like what Fulgrim's number one thing is pride, like by far. Fulgrim takes shit personally. He does not have much of a backbone. He takes insults genuinely personally.
Oh, much like a snake, no backbone, huh?
Hey. And so at the end, he's just like, I hope our father burns when the time comes, and I hope Lupercal turns him into a screaming corpse. And then right there, Fulgrim is like, I'm out. And he just vanishes in a plume of rose petals and leaves 50 of his guard and Eidolon to go kill Dorne.
Wow. And obviously they don't succeed.
No, Dorne basically says bet. And then goes from there.
And steamrolls them, yeah.
I don't know if he steamrolls them, but he doesn't die there. So
sure.
But yeah, I mean, Fulgrim basically just rage quit. Like he was fighting Dorne. Don't get me wrong. Like Dorne was having blood pouring all over his face. Like it's not like Dorne was just completely walloping him.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, Fulgrim is like, you know what? Yeah, you know, fuck this, man. This sucks. Perturabo's an asshole. I'm tired of this kind of stuff. I get no respect. You know what? Screw it. I'm taking all Slaanesh gifts. I'm going snake mode, and I'm out of here.
Oh wow! Just right. So you're right. He just. So from this point, I guess from this point on, like Fulgrim really isn't much of a team player as far as like chaos is concerned. He's just out for himself, out for his own benefits and perfections. He's kind of just doing his own thing from here on out anyway.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, yeah. His pride is so magnificent because one thing about pride is obviously you need people to agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have pride in a way if people aren't telling you you're great, or like you need that reassurance. That's just the issue with pride.
Yeah.
So from there, obviously he just kind of dips, and the rest, and then of course Perturabo is like, "Oh my god!"
Oh, poor Peter Turbo. He just can't win. He just can't win.
If the heresy had flipped sides, like if the loyalist Primarchs had flipped and they were the ones who decided to be heretical and fight, like not heretical, but let's say like traitor, a rebellion, I'm of the opinion that they would have won. I'm very much of the opinion that, like, okay, you take the Lion, Sanguinius, Guilliman, the Khan, you stick them, Vulcan, like you stick them all to fight the Emperor. I think they would have absolutely won.
Yeah, and it probably wouldn't have been that close either.
No, I mean, look how close it was for Horus. He basically killed the Emperor. Not quite, but damn close. And in doing so, he did it with the worst teammates he could have ever had, and Peter Turbo.
Yeah, he really did. Peter Turbo, it sounds like he's the only one that did really anything of value. everybody else, like we said, is just kind of like
not quite. I mean, in fairness, they all had a role to play. They were just not always great at it. Like Lorgar and Kurz did have their own stuff. Kurz was dealing with the lion. Lorgar did pretty well, actually. He held back the Ultramarines for a long while before they could get back.
That's true. That was pretty pivotal to their success, was making sure the Ultramarines didn't get there, because wow, what a fighting force they are, right?
Yeah, and like the Alpha Legion, they stormed like the Luna bases, which was a good handy little bit to help out and try to mess with communications and all that. So like some did well, but yeah, I mean, it wasn't, Typhus selling everyone to Nurgle on the way there was certainly not the best thing for Mortarion and friends, and Oh,
I also didn't realize that that's when Typhus selling out everyone to Nurgle happened, on the way to Terra.
No, I'm just meaning like in general.
Oh, in general. Okay, I thought you were like, oh yeah, guys, we're gonna go siege Terra. We're all doing great. Nurgle. All right, let's go.
The Siege of Terra and the Heresy is such a long, arduous timeline. I don't remember exactly when they sold them out, but it was obviously somewhere during the Heresy.
Yeah.
Okay. Anywho, so Fulgrim is like, nah, man. Obviously, the Heresy closes out. Horus kills, quote, quote, the Emperor, puts him on the throne. But then after that comes the Great Scouring, when all of the Imperial reinforcements, Guilliman, the Lion, everyone eventually gets back. The Blood Angels go insane and just start ripping people up because of the death of Sanguinius. Yep. And from there, Fulgrim and the Emperor's children needed to get the hell out of Dodge.
Oh, yeah, you need to go.
That being said, Fulgrim and the Emperor's children weren't like in too much of a hurry. So as they left, they actually really took their time, because they wanted to bounce from planet to planet to take as many slaves as they possibly could for their horrible experiments. And
of course they did. Of course, the Emperor's children are taking slaves for crazy. All right. Yep.
Yeah, they were like, I just really want more slaves to make drugs. Let's go. And in doing so, it caught the attention of a very particular gentleman. His name is Rubute Guilliman. And so Guilliman, seeing how slow Fulgrim was bailing out of here, assembled a enormous fleet of Ultramarines, as well as a bunch of successor chapters, to hunt down Fulgrim. Now, he attempted once, but failed, and eventually forced his way to the planet of Thessala to attack Fulgrim from there. But Fulgrim actually had set up a trap there and was able to ambush Guilliman's fleet with an even larger fleet of Emperor's children's ships, including Fulgrim's flagship, known as the Pride of the Emperor.
Ah, yes. You love the pettiness of the Emperor's children that have turned traitor. Ships called the Pride of the Emperor. Their call is still for the Emperor. You love to see that level of petty. You love to see it.
It's so funny. Now, during this time, when they were attacking the Pride of the Emperor, they noticed that the Void Shields were kind of going down a little bit. So what do you do when the Void Shields go down on a ship?
Teleport in and send in the Space Marines and wreck shop and
nice.
Just bombard it.
Yes, sir. You teleport your ass in there to cause as many problems as you possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what people forget sometimes, like that Terminator armor's real point is the fact that, like, oh, is that ship's shields down? Awesome. Here's like 10 of the most insanely badass, thick Dark Age technology armored dudes just teleporting in your grill.
Yep, causing all the problems. You have to deal with them. You can no longer concentrate on what's battering your ship from the outside because you are getting dominated from the inside.
There is nothing worse for an Imperial Navy captain than Space Marines have boarded us. What a horrifying statement.
The worst thing you could hear, for sure.
Yeah, and like obviously if you want to board them the traditional way, you have to send a drop pod into the ship, but Terminators just go vwomp.
Vwomp.
So Guilliman, along with a large amount of their Ultramarines, teleported onto the ship and split up and sent their way to deal with everything going on. But they didn't meet a lot of resistance. In fact, Guilliman and friends found it very eerily quiet on the ship. But everywhere else on the ship, his soldiers were meeting really fierce resistance. And so naturally, Guilliman, being a bit prideful himself, was like, okay, everyone else is really struggling. You all reinforce them. I'll deal with Fulgrim.
Okay.
And even his men were like, I don't know about that one, Chief.
I don't know about splitting the party, man. Like,
yeah.
D&D rules, man. Don't split the party. For a second, I thought this was gonna go like, have you ever seen Star Trek 3, the Search for Spock?
Like the original Star Trek 3?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I have not.
Oh, well, like the Klingons teleport onto the Enterprise because they're like, oh, ha, we're going to take it over, and you can have Spock back if you do that. And, they transport onto the Enterprise and like, why aren't we meeting any resistance? What's going on? And they get to the bridge, and the bridge is counting down a self-destruction, and everybody blows up because it's just Klingons on the ship now.
No, I mean, well, there's no bomb, but I understand the kind of the concept.
Yeah, I thought maybe that was the direction we were going in with, why aren't we meeting any resistance? What do you mean the ship's exploding?
Yeah, so, I mean, in this case, it's a different kind of resistance where naturally Guilliman makes his way up to the main council chamber, whatever you call it. And yeah, there he is, Snaky Boy. He's there waiting for him. And obviously, when he... Heliopolis, that's what it's called. And he's, waiting there, and Fulgrim basically was there as like, hey, behold, see what the Emperor made the Prince of Pleasure has improved upon. And he's showing off his full demonic form that Guilliman hasn't really seen yet.
Ooh, Guilliman's got to be a little shocked.
Yeah, and I gotta be honest, Guilliman, he didn't do good. He was immediately starting off doing pretty darn well, and Guilliman's a good punchy dude. He hits hard, and he busted up Fulgrim's arm, but it didn't really do much. Eventually, Fulgrim got Guilliman in his tail and started crushing the life out of him. Ripped his helmet off, basically screamed at him, laughed at him, and filled his lungs up with like his perfume, which is just a total big toxin.
Hell yeah.
And constantly laid on the assault on Guilliman. Eventually, with the scar that Corferon had gave Guilliman earlier in the Battle of Calth, Fulgrim sliced him right up.
Oh.
Landed a full-on fatal blow on Guilliman, completely infused with like warp poison toxins, directly on the scar left by Corferon's blade. And right afterwards, Guilliman knocked the fuck out.
Oh, wow. So, I mean, wow,
Guilliman doesn't really win that many Primarch fights.
That's true. I was going to say, like, we've kind of discussed it where it's like, Guilliman, he is a Primarch. You don't want to see him opposing you on the battlefield, but as far as Primarchs go, like, he doesn't win too many duels, especially with someone like Fulgrim. Because, like, yeah, sure, maybe he's not the best duelist, but it's like Fulgrim is, like, one of the better sword duelists of the Primarchs, right?
I would argue that Fulgrim is, like, top 3, if not the best.
Yeah.
Because, like,
so it's
Angron is body count. Fulgrim is, like, the one-on-one.
Yeah. So it's not crazy surprising that Guilliman kind of gets bodied by a juiced-up demon Primarch version of Fulgrim.
Yeah, I mean, Fulgrim probably would have beaten Guilliman as a human because Fulgrim is just that good, right?
Yeah.
I feel like the only people who could really actually deal with Fulgrim might be the Khan, because the Khan kind of keeps that under wraps a little bit. He's kind of careful.
Yeah, that was the conversation they had, right?
Yeah.
With the Khan and Fulgrim, where it's like, oh yeah, you tell everyone how good you are. Ain't nobody knows how good I am.
Kurz and Sanguinius as well, because they have foresight. And it helps out. Seeing the future is really helpful when you were dueling someone. But yeah, no, I mean, at this point, he basically lands a killing blow on Guilliman. And at this point, Guilliman and the rest of the people that he has, well, not the rest of the people, but some of the people he has on the ship, teleports him out. And this is when Guilliman is put in the stasis bubble to make sure he doesn't die for around 10,000 years, until eventually Yvraine and the folks in the 13th Black Crusade let him out, kill him, and revive him.
Right, and he makes his big triumphant return, blazing sword of the Emperor. Gotcha.
Yeah, so, like, as far as we're concerned, Fulgrim killed Guilliman.
Yeah, he did. He straight up killed Guilliman, and they had to do some plot twisting to make sure he stayed alive until they could figure it. Yeah, he straight up kills Guilliman.
And, I mean, once they take him out of the stasis, Guilliman dies. He dies there and then they revive him. But, you know. I mean, this is Fulgrim has in a sense 2. We can go with 1.5 if it makes you feel better. Primarch kills.
I'll go 2 because he does kill him.
He does kill him. In doing so, for this, Slaanesh was stoked out of their mind.
Bet.
Oh my god, they were so happy because after this point, the massive majority of Guilliman's men were all killed. The battle barge escaped, and the remaining forces there were completely left to the Emperor's children to do whatever they wanted with. And we all know, ain't great stuff there.
Nope, they probably did a lot of stuff to those guys, and oh boy.
Oh boy.
I wonder if they can make drugs out of Space Marines.
I bet you make some really ask Bile. I'm sure he knows.
Yeah, make some turbo steroids out of the Ultramarines.
So Slaanesh, taking direct notice of this massive chaos dub, basically was like, you know what, Fulgrim? Here's a demon world, all for you, bro. And so
that's fair.
They gave him a full-on demon world. And at this point, Fulgrim is like, hell yeah, and he left everybody. Which the Emperor's children did not take too kindly to.
To Fulgrim just dipping to his demon world? Yeah, I imagine not. It's like, hey, where you going? Fuck you, I'm out.
There's a really poignant phrase. It's Fabius talking to Lucius. And it's basically Lucius being like, nah, Dad loves us. Of course he doesn't hate us. What do you mean? And Fabius is like, ha, of course he hates us. Are you kidding me? Is that never seeing the wonders we wrought, only the limitations, not our triumphs, just our flaws. He hates us, Lucius, because to Fulgrim, we are not his sons. We are a mirror holding up an image before him that he can never do anything other than hate. We are his own failure made manifest, the miscarriage that comes about when a father tries to mold his children into something better than himself. But how do you mold something better than perfection?
Yeah. Oof, that's deep. But
Yeah.
it makes sense as to why he wouldn't love his own sons. Because it's like, you will never achieve the perfection I have. Oof.
It's a tough one. And so with that, Fulgrim, with the absence, spent his time mostly on the demon world known as Kallax. Now, Kallax is a very hidden world. It is extremely hard to find. No one really knows where it is. Some people have seen it, particularly Fabius has made a pilgrimage there. I think Lucius has probably been there. Maybe Eidolon. But for example, the Inquisition has no idea where it is. They have a full task force ready the moment they find it.
I'm sure. Send everyone.
Though through this, after Fulgrim basically left to go to his own new world of Kallax, his demon world, all the other Emperor's children people didn't really know what to do anymore. And so they did what they love to do, which is raid planets, take slaves, and also beat up other chaos people. In fact,
that sounds about right.
They did it so much that it became a thing known as the Legion War, a super long chaos civil war that eventually ended with the clone of Horus being killed by Abaddon and the foundation of the Black Legion with Abaddon becoming War Master. Because it was so much infighting, that's kind of when Abaddon was like, all right, enough.
Yeah, This needs to change. So who is it? Just Lucius and Fabius kind of leading the main forces of the Emperor's Children? Because like Fulgrim isn't leading; he's off just on his own little demon world, presumably hating his children because they ain't him. So is it just Lucius and Bile kind of hurting the Emperor's Children forces where they need to go?
One more: Lucius, Bile, and Eidolon.
Oh, right.
Technically, Eidolon actually has the largest warband of all the Emperor's Children. It's the Phoenix Guard, is the elite guard. So Eidolon's probably the head honcho, as far as I'm concerned. Bile's off doing his own thing, because Bile is a creepy mad scientist. And Lucius, I don't even know what's up with Lucius anymore, man. I don't even know if he is even in control of his own body. I think he's just like completely insane.
Yeah, I mean, look at that mini.
Yeah, I mean, it's so cool though.
Yeah, it is, but that is not a sane individual that is planning things.
I'm pretty sure Lucius is just like off doing his own thing. I mean, he's got look at the mini. He's got 5 vials of drugs. 5 vials of drugs going into his body. Like it's a wild dude.
Yeah, a little bit, just a little bit.
So basically, Fulgrim's whereabouts are unknown. Some people have made a pilgrimage to Kallax before, but not really. It's generally unknown of where it is. Most Emperor's Children warbands would love to find out where it is, but they just are not told and do not know.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Fulgrim, during this time, has been on the lovely pleasure planet of Kallax, which is named after the capital city of Chemos, because Kallax was the capital city of Chemos. Chemos, okay. Whatever. Mm-hmm. He is literally turning it into a nearly identical copy of his home planet, include all the way to the chemical composition of the air. But he's also like creating the circumstances as he remembered it, including recreating the population so it's a 1-to-1 copy of Chemos. However, he finds this to be very annoying as he's trying to make the world identical and perfect from what he used to remember. Therefore, if there is the slightest inaccuracy, he will basically wipe out the entire planet and start from scratch.
Oh.
However, he is not wasteful in his recreation of the planet. I believe there's this little excerpt here with Fabius, and I don't quite remember the name of this individual. It's the first ever female space marine. It's like a female experiment that Bile made. It's kind of like a space marine, but it's one of Bile's experiments. Like even space marines are far enough from human, but like goodness gracious. But in a sense, it kind of is what that is. But you know, it's a Bile experiment, so take that for what you will. Mm-hmm. But it says, she stopped suddenly, looking around. Which way do we go? All I see are mountains. Those aren't mountains, Fabius said. The cloying clouds of perfume and dust thinned as he spoke, revealing the screes of dead flesh, heaped and stacked to their censers. The bodies of innumerable men, women, and children rose into the high crags and fell away into valleys and canyons. Carrion birds nested in the heights, stripping the flesh from broken limbs or sampling delicacies from exposed innards. I estimate their numbers somewhere in the low billions, he said, roughly 2 planetary populations worth, or around 6 generations.
The way I recoiled when it was like, those aren't mountains. It's like, ugh.
Yeah.
Okay, lovely. Billions of people. Just, oh boy. All right.
Oh, yeah, Savona. Thank you. Savona, Slaanesh mutated human warrior for the Emperor's Children. Leader of the 12th company, I think.
Oh, so Savona's still kicking around?
Or 12th millennial? I actually don't know. I believe she is in the Fabius Bile books.
Ah, okay.
And therefore, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, she's like one of like upgraded, types of people that Fabius Bile likes to make his fun little experiments. Yeah, creations of Bile, yeah. When a warband of the Emperor's children arrived to raid the planet, she joined them willingly, draped in her family's skin and offering the Legion their hearts.
Okay. Well, hey, that is very chaos, Fabius Bile-pilled. Sure. Yep. Draped in skin, offering the hearts of your family. Yep. Yeah, that tracks.
What a gal.
Yeah.
But, so despite the fact that Fulgrim is not a very big fan of visitors to his planet, most Emperor's children believe that making their way to Kallax to commune with Fulgrim is like the best opportunity possible, and in a way gaining a favor of Slaanesh. Fabius Bile specifically made his way to there and insulted Fulgrim to his face, which he does not take kindly.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're Fabius Bile, like, I get being pissed at Fulgrim, but surely you must know what you are about to do by making fun of Fulgrim or insulting him, or like obviously you want to tell him that he's not doing great things, but choose your words carefully. That's Fulgrim.
I mean, Fulgrim, or Fabius, does not necessarily see Fulgrim as perfect anymore. He sees him as definitely a lot more of the monstrous type of thing. And we'll talk about this a little bit more when we get to the minis, but he's definitely not the old Fulgrim that he remembered.
That's fair.
So, modern day Fulgrim. Fulgrim was part of the 13th Black Crusade. That's the big one. The Emperor's children were actually a part of the 13th Black Crusade in numerous amounts. Like, they were very prominent in the fighting. There is a little bit of like a Inquisitor Ordo Malleus kind of statement. It kind of goes, the alleged sighting of a gigantic serpent-bodied redacted, slaughtering everything the Astra Militarum could send against it has yet to be confirmed or denied. One of those kinds of little like, hey, there he is. Hint, hint.
Like he was there. He was tearing it up. Okay.
Little hint, hint, little nudge, nudge. But of course, as the 13th Black Crusade ends, big chaos dub, but Guilliman gets resurrected, battle from a crag, the whole thing. We did a whole episode on this like 3 years ago.
Yeah. Oof. My bones.
But fun thing here. Guilliman liberates Ultramar. Things are really good. And as a form of celebration to help rally morale in these bad times, put their faith back in the Emperor, Guilliman agreed to the assistance of the Arch Council of, Ultramar, the planetary governor. And as the parade continued, the Arch Council gave Guilliman a gilded crown and asked that Guilliman wear it for all of the crowds. When it was placed on his head, Guilliman was immediately filled with visions of future glories and victories, and with an overwhelming sense of pride. However, these visions saw Guilliman being worshipped like the Emperor himself, and eventually sitting on the Golden Throne. And horrified by this, Guilliman ripped the crown off of his head and asked for the Arch Council to be restrained. When he was restrained, the Arch Council began to scream and melt away into a mutated abomination that filled Guilliman's head with the voice of Fulgrim.
Lovely.
In mocking tones, Fulgrim welcomed Guilliman back to his beloved Imperium. The demon Primarch revealed that he had concealed a fragment of his own animus in the amulet that his servant wore, and confessed disappointment that Guilliman had rejected the gift, the crown of glories. Many heroes great and pure had fallen to the trinket's blandishments, and Fulgrim had hoped he could corrupt Guilliman the same fashion. Yet the Slaaneshi prince assured his brother that this was the first of endless temptations that Guilliman would have to face. Laughing cruelly, he taunted that the Lord of Ultramar would never be able to trust any feeling of triumph or self-satisfaction again.
That man holds a grudge.
Well,
holy.
At this point, I'm pretty sure, at this point, almost either directly afterwards or around this era, either before or after, Rylanor was also like, hey, shit ass.
Love the new hey, shit ass memes from Space Marine 2.
Oh, the dreadnought throwing the thing.
Yeah. Oh, man. I mean, I guess Fulgrim would be kind of pissed. Like, oh, man, Guilliman's back. Well, at least I've got my new my new hobby is my new hobby is just poking and prodding at Guilliman with endless temptations and just little crowns and trinkets. Ha 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 ha. Eat shit, Guilliman.
It's pretty funny. I mean, for the most part, Fulgrim is that kind of guy. He do be like him, and so it's very funny to just kind of just screw with him all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
is there some list of things that Fulgrim has tried to do to Guilliman since he came back, or is it kind of just like it's just kind of like this thing that's like, oh yeah, I'm always watching you, and there's not like really a big list of it. It's just kind of a
wait. I'm sorry. One more time.
Like you know how he tried to give him like the crown? Has he done anything else kind of like that? Is there any other examples of him like, oh yeah, he, I don't know, gave him a locket, or some woman that Guilliman slept with was actually, it was me, Fulgrim, you had sex with your brother, or something. I don't know.
What the fuck, man?
I don't know. I was just trying to think of the most Slaanesh thing I could think of, and somehow that wormed its way into my brain, and then I said it, and I don't know, man.
I was about to say, that's very Loki coded you got going on right there, not gonna lie.
I guess that's true. Loki turning into a female horse,
yeah. you give him like the Skeletor thing. Hey, He-Man, I had sex with you. Had sex with me.
It was me, Skeletor, not some random. Anyway, yeah. Has he done anything else to Guilliman?
This is very Quagmire having sex with Joe. April Fool's coded or whatever. Anyway, not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
We're in modern day general era at the moment, and so the timeline's a little funky. You got him screwing with Guilliman, you get Rylanor's big final Lamau, here's the virus bomb type thing. You got all those other moments, which of course the biggest blow that Rylanor did to Fulgrim is to his pride. You know, it's not really even the virus bomb, because Fulgrim just kind of can fix himself. It's a lot more the fact that he just totally trounced on him morally.
Yeah.
So
like you got one up by Rylanor. Haha. Maybe you survive from it, but I got you.
Yeah. But for the time being, for the most part, that's kind of where we're at with Fulgrim. He's back. He's out and about. He's doing shit. He's remaking Kallax. He's doing all kinds of annoying stuff. He's a real shitter. But obviously now he's back in a full method, right?
Mm-hmm. Full capacity. He's out and about doing his thing. I'm assuming he's not just trying to remake his planet now. He's actually like going on raids, and he's actually actively making the Imperium's life absolutely fucking miserable.
Yeah, and so the next bits are a little bit of speculation, but, you know, obviously whenever a new Primarch comes back, they come out with a book. Most recent one we got was Lion, Son of the Forest, which was absolute gas.
10 out of 10.
Such a good book. And so now we have Fulgrim, the Perfect Son, is coming out. Now, there's a couple things we can make assumptions on. Obviously, the reason Fulgrim left and got a demon world is because he killed Guilliman, but Guilliman's back. So there's a good chance that Slaanesh is like, hey,
finish the job.
Finish your work.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, the Fulgrim is back into actual reality. Could be because Slaanesh is literally like, go back and get what you needed done.
Mm-hmm.
Past that, Guilliman and Fulgrim hate each other. Absolutely despise each other.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
So obviously there's the whole Demon Primarch versus Avenging Sun thing. You already did have Guilliman facing off against Magnus and Mortarion. But obviously Fulgrim in particular has a huge problem with Guilliman.
Mm-hmm.
And if editor note, if we are doing real tinfoil hat territory, going crazy unsure, we go down the path that Fulgrim coming back with the Fireblade, as he has come back with the weapon that Ferrus Manus made for him, could be a hint about the return of Ferrus Manus in some kind of capacity, as we have been, obviously seen. GW seems to want to bring back most to all the Primarchs, and Legion of the Damned is a thing that has been a thing before. So you never quite know.
Would you bring back Ferrus Manus as a headless Legion of the Damned with like I think we discussed this with like a sort of like the visage of a sort of ghostly skull head or something?
Headless Horseman.
Like Legion. Sort of like a Doulahan deal.
So here's the thing. No, I wouldn't, because God damn it, I hate when people bring back the dead. I want more like weight to it all. I want more emotional weight. That being said, there is a certain level of cool. Like if they showed up, if Ferrus Manus showed up as a just demonic demon specter with a flaming head and a giant like burning maul, that kind of look would be so badass that I would almost be like, okay, but that looks really cool.
Yeah, I might have issues with it, but like, goddamn.
Someone I was talking to had the idea that Dorne needs to come back interred in like a Primarch dreadnought. But the dreadnought is basically like a walking fortress, and you can use them on the tabletop and put like Imperial Fist soldiers to ride in it like a transport and fire from like the top.
Oh, Dorne coming back in like a Phalanx-themed dreadnought would be so cool.
It would be super cool. I mean, even Ferrus Manus, in a sense, like as a dreadnought isn't the worst idea either. But I would prefer if the people who are dead stay dead, because I want that emotional weight to be there. We can bring back Dorne and Vulcan and those that aren't fully dead, but Sanguinius, Kurz, and Manus, I feel like should stay dead.
I feel like Kurz especially, too. Like, as soon as you said Kurz, I was like, you can't bring him back. Like, his whole lore was like, I need to die. That is where I get my, like, vindication from. Like, you can't really bring Kurz back, can you?
Yeah, I mean, it's... Well, I think there's the possibility that the crown he was wearing had like an Eldar soul stone in it. And so there's the possibility that his soul is in the soul stone. He's not actually, he's like dead physically, but that might be there.
Right.
God knows what they're going to do with Sanguinius, but I don't know why. At some point, I remember someone saying at like GW plans to bring back every Primarch in some way or the other. And I don't know what that means. So...
Not to get too far off topic, but I still think it'd be hilarious to see, like, not hilarious, but I think it'd be super interesting to see what Sanguinius thinks of his chapter right now with, like, the Black Rage and everything, and how, not how far they've fallen, but just how crazy things have gotten with his chapter.
They have been going pretty wild.
So,
I don't know. Anywho, moving from there, there's an interesting thing that you might want to take a look at a little bit on his model.
Okay.
Because so there's Shai, do you mind posting both of the models, the 30K and the 40K version? Because there are a lot of people who really like the 30K version more. I personally like the 40K version more, and we'll explain why in a moment.
Okay, so you like the one that just came out?
I like it more than the other one, yes.
Okay, with the goofy face and everything that everybody is making millions upon millions of memes about.
Exactly. So this is old 30K Fulgrim. This is Horus Heresy Fulgrim.
Ooh, that one is real nice though. You get like, because I'm gonna say I've seen the new one and I do really like the new one, but this one kind of slaps.
Oh, it slaps. They're both good. I think they're both great. I got no problems with that. He looks fantastic, regardless of which one we're talking about.
Agreed. They're both great minis, but ooh, boy, that 30K one is nice.
It is. Now, so obviously, if you look at the 30K one, he's got these really big, pretty looking like wings. You can notice his hair is all braided up, and he has like the horns. As you can see, his tail is armored down the line with gems and jewels and lots of filigree. He's got like the creepy face on the center, but for the most part, you can see his snake tail is full of scales and all that kind of stuff. He's very much regal snake Fulgrim.
Yes, definitely.
So I think the main thing to kind of roll around with this mentally is that this is when he was the image of perfection, the transmutation of human Fulgrim to snake Fulgrim. This is 10,000-year-old Fulgrim. This is demonic, corrupted, built in Slaanesh's image Fulgrim. So the new Fulgrim Notice how his tail is not really scaled. It's completely barren, open to the world.
Very leathery looking,
very leathery,
wrinkled. Mm-hmm.
Snakes have a lot of sensory and like very strong sensory touch things on their skin. So in a sense, it could be more as a way to make him raw to the world to enjoy his indulgences. He's got the Slaanesh icon in his flayed skin, placed all throughout the rest of his body. You can look at his tail. The scales on it are a bit more random, ridged, demonic. Mm-hmm. His wings significantly darker,
and much less perfect, and
almost more fanged, more sinister looking. Mm-hmm. His armor is actually, there's a lot less of it. He's got like the bronze and stuff, but you notice it's way less like big wings of gold and purple. And then you look at his like hair, for example. It's not beautiful and braided. It's frazzled, frayed, flying all up there. The horns are not as held back. They're directly up, spiked. Mm-hmm. You know, and his face, like he looks more evil. He looks like he's less perfect. He's demonic and creepy.
He is. He definitely is. He looks like he is. It looks like it's the 30K model, but he's seen some shit.
Yeah,
like just kind of like he's been through it. He's been through the warp. He's been through, So yeah, I get that.
So I like the 40K version more because it looks more like a demon Primarch of Slaanesh, as opposed to like snake version of Fulgrim. It's a lot more demonic and disgusting.
That makes sense. He does look more like a demon prince of Slaanesh in this one. Like very Slaanesh coded, very everything Slaanesh is about, instead of just like, like you said, the other one is just like, oh yeah, it's Fulgrim as a snake.
To me, in a way, I almost like can imagine it from Fulgrim's point of view. Fulgrim sees himself as 30K mini, but in reality, he's actually 40K mini.
Oh yeah, I do like the notion that he's like, of course I'm still perfect. I'm as perfect as I was, and it's like, have you looked in a mirror lately?
Yeah, he's just like totally corrupted and gross and all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's one of the reasons why I like it so much, that general mini vibe. As for his weapons, though, I mean, he has a lot of the similar kinds of blades he usually has. He has his 3 main swords. One of them is the fire blade that Ferrus Manus made for him. I forget what it's called. Firebrand?
Which one is the firebrand on the mini? Because none of them look particularly on fire.
I think it's the top right. It's like a power swordish thing looking one.
That's what I would have guessed, because it had that kind of green lining to it. So I was like, it's got to be that one. But I would have figured, because GW's done fire swords before.
I'm sorry. Look at the artwork that Shai posted, top left. You can see the flaming one.
Oh, yeah. Okay. It is the top right one. Yeah.
He obviously has a barbed whip, which is just Slaanesh coded in general.
Yep.
And his blade held in his right, our left hand, looks a lot like the Laer blade. Very much so, the blade of Laerian, which he does not currently have. That current blade, which is now demonless, is being used by Lucius, and is what Lucius is holding.
Right. Okay.
So this one's a little different. Tinfoil hat theory. Mm-hmm. The new blade does look a little like an Eldar crone sword. Might I remind you that one of the last major crone swords Yvraine needs is deep in the Palace of Slaanesh?
That's right. And they can't get it, and they've given up on getting it because, of course, we can't. Oh, I forgot all about that.
What is more of a Slaanesh gambit than tempting the Eldar with, here he is, here's the blades.
The last blade
come.
Come. That's such an interesting prospect. I didn't even make the joke that I could have just then because, I really like that idea, and I kind of hope that's what it is.
Yeah, I
really hope that's the last one. And it's like, yeah, how are you going to get it? You got to go through the demon Primarch of You have to go through Fulgrim.
I mean, look at those. Those are the crone swords you can see there, wielded by the 3 members of the Ynnari. And then you look at that blade that Fulgrim's carrying.
I see the vision. Is there a better image of the sword? Because like on I can see it on like the big picture of. Is there one of it from the side? Because like it does look really close, actually.
Fulgrim. Let's see the Fulgrim, the Perfect Son book.
Wait, yeah. There's the picture I was looking for of it.
There's also the book cover, which like you could kind of see it a little bit.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a bit tinfoil hat. It's a little tinfoil, but
man, that's it could be.
It could be.
It also could not be. I feel like
it also could not be.
Because like I feel like it is close enough that it's like, oh yeah, I could totally see that, and it's Slaanesh. But then it's also like, I could also see it not being.
Yeah, I mean, it's got the spirit gem there.
It does.
But also it does. I mean, yeah, I mean, it is the spirit gem right there. It also is. Like the layer blade does look kind of similar, but doesn't have the gem.
Let me see. I haven't seen the layer blade in forever.
Lucius is currently holding it in that new mini, but obviously it's the angle there is a little off, but there's no gem in it.
That's definitely not the sword that Fulgrim is holding.
No. So, I mean, hey, it's possible.
Ooh, it is possible. I like that, though.
It's a very seductive gambit because, like hell, even the newest attachment in Warhammer for Slaanesh is called, like, I think it's called Seductive Gambit or something somewhat similar to that. I forget exactly the rule name, but basically, in the long and short. Sorry, it is Seductive Gambit. Yeah, Seductive Gambit. So basically, in Warhammer, if you charge someone, you get to hit them first before they get to hit you because you charged. In this one, you are allowed to, with Slaanesh units, make the charge and choose to not fight first. But if you do, you get you reroll all of your hits and wounds, which is a massive buff. It's one of the biggest buffs in the whole game. But it's basically like, hey, I'm a little squishy Slaanesh unit. Come on, hit me first. And then if they do and they don't do enough damage, then you just like trounce them.
Yeah. Oh, and that's so Slaanesh coded too. To be like, oh, hey, here I am. That's so Slaanesh coded.
Yeah, it's very, very much that. So maybe he's got a crone sword. We'll find out.
Oh, man. I actually do hope he has a crone sword because that would be such a Slaanesh-y thing to do, too. I love it. I love the tinfoil hat. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, for the most part, that's where he's at the moment. He's obviously back. Guilliman's back, which is obviously a blow to his pride and Slaanesh's reward to him. You also, of course, have the Eldar and the Ynnari out and about, really causing aches and pains in Slaanesh's realm. Kegarak is stealing souls. And there is the Crone Swords, which is a very important, yet not very talked about part of, this general world of 40K. So.
Oh, yeah. If that actually is that last Crone Sword that they need, that's huge. If they could find a way to wrangle that from Fulgrim, if that's what he's holding, that's a game changer.
I actually got to double check. So I got to figure out the Crone Swords. There's 5. Uriel has the other one. That's right. The Spear of Twilight. So
Uriel is...
Prince Uriel, we haven't talked much about him. He's an Eldar model. So you've got Yvrain with the Kavir, the Vizark with the Asuvar, the Yinkarn with the Villasjar, Uriel with the Spear of Twilight, and then there's the fifth one, which is unnamed, inside the Palace of Slaanesh by Shalaxi Hellbane. However, maybe with Mr. Fulgrim.
Maybe. And who else would Slaanesh trust with it, right? But yeah, I remember Uriel because I remembered he was an Eldari because we talked about him, and I was like, Uriel Ventress is doing what? And it's like, no, wrong Uriel.
Yeah, right. The Prince Uriel, which is I don't really know much about Prince Uriel, actually. I feel like we've definitely talked about him, but I don't actually know a ton. I know a lot more about like Eldrad, because Eldrad is like him. He's the guy.
And his Eldrip.
Is Eldrad tripped out? Eldrad Othrin, 40k.
I just vaguely remember that being like the joke that we made when we talked about
No, that's Drazar and the Drazip.
Oh, that's right, the Drazar and the Drazip. I don't even know our own lore. What's going on?
I mean, he's kind of dripped. He looks cool.
Yeah, he's got the fur cloak thing too.
Yeah,
sure.
His mini's a little old, but you know, he's like an uber psyker. He's a fancy like super psyker. So anyway,
all right.
Oh right, Uriel's a space pirate. That's right.
Oh hell yeah, let's go space pirates. You love to hear those two words together, space and pirate.
Yeah, that's
hell
true.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of what Fulgrim's been up to right now. His pride is very wounded. He's been blown a lot with that, and probably blown in lots of other ways. And
probably doing a lot of blow too.
He's blowing. He's been blowed. He's doing blow. He's blowing shit up. He's
every way you could blow. He is a blowing.
He's blowing his ass out the back.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, DK, let's blow this joint.
Yeah, let's blow this pop stand.